And welcome back to Let's Play Battlefield 1942. Today we have another bonus episode on Guadalcanal, and I'm hoping for this to be a flying episode, so this is the Japanese Zero. That's one of the fighter planes. That one on the right that looks a little bit bigger is the Aichi. It's the bomber, and well, of three planes, I'm the only one that survived the always difficult and treacherous friendly landing strip. That's I don't really know what to say other than, you know, sometimes plane campers will team kill you to punish you for stealing their plane, and I guess that was an example of some kind of plane camper suicide pact, maybe a guilty conscience of getting to the plane before someone else. But at any rate, back to the normal bonus episode commentary. It's a Jeep, very easy to kill as long as you line up the target right. Over here, this is the American landing strip. You'll notice there are two circles, two little circular dots. Each one represents a flak gun, and you see those circles if the flak gun is empty. Just like an unmanned vehicle, there's an icon for an unmanned flak gun, and that's a very helpful tool if you're going to be camping the enemy landing strip, because you can tell that there's going to be no hostile flak. And as soon as you see the circle disappear, it means it's being manned, and it's probably time to get out of there or deal with it in some way. So I always follow up a strafing run with the bomb to get that extra level of accuracy against infantry. Just a second chance, I guess. That's the village flag from above. In the other Guadalcanal bonus episodes, I spent a lot of time dealing with the village flag, which seems to be a magnet activity. And it's also really handy to attack it with an airplane because it's so open. Now, these bunkers are interesting because it's kind of difficult to get a proper angle on them with a bombing attack. If the infantry are hidden in the bunker, it's difficult to get at them. On the other hand, you can go straight at them with your guns. So if enemy infantry just happen to be... I've switched over to the extra menu there just to get an eye on my bombing run. It's sometimes handy to do that to see if you're bombing too late or too early. But if enemy infantry are hanging out right outside the bunker, sometimes on the mountain flags, you can go straight at them with your guns. And when you're on Guadalcanal, this is a really good example. I guess it was too early on that one. It's a good example of a map where you can check the main roads for tanks or jeeps or other vehicles, because the terrain is so rough. There's so many trees and obstacles in the way that people always stick to the main roads, which really stick out. They're light colored, obviously, and the terrain is green. So if I were a bit better at bombing the tanks, or if I had the bomber plane, I would mostly stick to watching the sky, just looking down over those paths, the dark colored vehicles on the light colored path. I kind of did a little bit of damage to my own plane there because the bombing run was so low. A little bit of activity over at that mountain flag. And we've captured the village flag, so my main area of killing stuff, besides the hostile airstrip, is going to be unavailable as a target for now. I'm going to try to get an angle on the mountain flag over here. Didn't quite get down low enough. It's always funny how you can really spot those infantry on the mountains, particularly the American soldiers, because they're in this greenish uniform, whereas the Japanese are in kind of a brownish reddish uniform that blends in better in the mountains. with the hostile planes. I guess he wasn't very optimistic about the prospect for survival there, but you really have to, it's tricky to hit the enemy planes while you're in flight because you have to lead your target so much. Now I guess I may as well say a few words about the flying episodes or airplanes or whatever overall. You've probably noticed over the course of this Let's Play series that I haven't done too much in the air with airplanes. That's mostly because I never really got that good with the airplanes when I was playing this game before starting the LP. And the reason that partly is because I was flying with keyboard, but I think keyboard isn't that much worse than a good joystick. Never had a good joystick. And probably more importantly, as you can see, even with a decent connection, the cable modem, it's really difficult to lead your target so much. When I played this game, here I'm just reloading. In fact, I was almost out of bullets there as I was attacking the hostile plane. For most of the time when I played this game, I was on a dial-up modem. And those who have played this game with the dial-up modem know that you can get considerable lag, although sometimes it's playable. You're absolutely going to get a ping that's worse than what other people are playing with. Now I got a hit on the Jeep, but no kill. Looks like he jumped out. And so, when you combine the fact that I was playing on a dial-up modem with that lag, and there's always going to be some kind of problem with the lag. You just, infantry action, probably less so with tanks. But with the airplanes, I mean, it's just ridiculous. You can't, you'd have to lead your target so much that you'd have to know their flight plan in advance. Water. Let's see if I can get him. Well, I got my plane almost completely killed there. I'm going to have a lot of smoke pouring out of the back of this thing. In fact, I might want to steal the plane now. Let's check out the smoke. Yeah, there you go. So for the most part, I stayed away from dealing with planes and flying around when I was on a dial-up modem. And I didn't get onto broadband until not too long before Battlefield 2 came out, and I switched to Battlefield 2. So I never really got all that much practice time with the planes. Plus, the people who are really good with the planes are just extraordinarily good with the planes. I guess they carry over some of their plane flying skills from other games over to this one. And where were the plane campers on that one? It was just a clean getaway. Right now I'm in the American Corsair plane, which often gets criticized a lot, especially compared to the Zero, because the handling on it is very difficult to get used to. You overturn. See, I'm having a little bit of trouble just... I think if you flew only with this plane, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but since you switch on this game back and forth between Axis and Allies, and you're going to be flying Russian planes, and you just never really get used to it completely. You have to play using the American plane for a while. After that, it's not too bad, but it's still easier to do the Japanese versions. Typically, if there's one side completely dominant on a map in the air power, on a Pacific map, it's going to be the Japanese. And see, there's a good example of how those mountain flags, because they're on a mountain, you can fly directly at them without worrying about crashing into the trees, and you just open up your guns on them. Yeah, I think in the little reverse view there, on the external view, you can see the little dot of someone being bombed and flying off the mountain. The only reason everyone's spawning over the mountain is because it's their only flag besides the uncappable base. Otherwise, people prefer to spawn at the other points. There's a group of them. And it looks like a really nice bombing run there. And I think I saw a bunch of bazookas, so maybe they're hoping to aim at me, or maybe there's a hostile tank in the area. I think actually, as I'm just playing this now, I'm getting a better handle, particularly on this plane, but just in general. So to get back to what I was saying earlier, didn't do too much with the planes on this LP. Primarily, I'd have to deal with plane campers also to compete with the planes. There's a flak on his man now. I'm going to have to watch out. But also because I never got as good with the airplanes as I did with other stuff. So I might practice a bit with the planes, fly around a bit, and show off that aspect of the game. Stay tuned for part 2.